we discuss period poverty. Now, what does period poverty mean? Because I know that when I sent you that topic, I'm sure you're like, Oshodi, I started again.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, first, you're a breath of fresh air, basically, when it comes to conversations, basically. And you can say that, you can say these good things about me and what we do at Lende, and but it's also because there are people like you who make it easy, basically, make it easy for our voice to be heard and things like that. So thank you. Take your flowers, my darling.
Oh no, this was not expected. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Bimbola
So,
Shware. Let's talk.
back to your conversation and your
Yeah.
question on what period poverty is. So I like to say two things that textbook definition, it's lack of access, right? Where menstrual facilities is concerned, information is concerned, support is concerned, education is concerned, resources is concerned. It's that lack of access to menstrual um menstrual resources that inhibits a young girl or a woman from thriving, especially during and after, or even before that time of the month, that it impacts our education, our health, and our overall well-being. So that's essentially textbook definition of what period poverty is.
Now, so why do we still have to deal with period poverty?
Ah, oh, you just touched a chord there.
I'm
You just
sorry.
really touched a chord,
I'm
but
sorry. I'm
it's sad
sorry.
that we're in 2025 and we're still having these conversations, right? It's sad that it's either people aren't listening or it's not just priority. Do you understand? It's like what they do you understand? And it leads, it degenerates to other concerns when it comes to the girl child. Do you understand? It's the backseat the girl child has to take every time because she's never priority. So I don't want to digress and talk about all those other things, but it's sad that we still are having this concern where issues around things as basic as advocacy and policy change isn't attended to. Do you understand? And then when one country makes a like comes out and say, "Oh, we are doing this, we're making parts free," is a big deal. This is 2025. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Periods didn't end with COVID, right? Periods didn't end during the pandemic. Periods didn't doesn't end when because you don't have money. It's a biological concept that a girl has to continue going through. And then to see that we are not talking about it enough, or we are not, the advocacy around it holistically isn't there, is pretty sad.
Hmm. And this will lead me to, why are pads expensive? So let's yes. Why are pads expensive? I know some um towels are 3,525, and I'm wondering, is
Yes,
why?
is that deep?
I think I was last week, because I went to the pharmacy and I'm like, what is going on? Can't it be free? Because with
Yeah,
this biological,
I know where you're going to.
it's already hard in itself.
Yeah, it is. It is.
When you don't have it, it's hard because you're thinking,
Yes.
are you pregnant or not? Or
Yeah.
PCOS or not? And then when you
Yes.
have it, so the
Yeah.
paper towels, there is reusable. Sometimes, Bimbola, see, you and I, the only difference is Mike. It could be really tiring.
Yeah, it is. It is for a biological concept or something that happens biologically, and then you have to, you have to, let me use the Yoruba word, "jẹun kánú," before you can take care of yourself, is sad. There is a particular company that used to give, organization that used to give us sanitary pads, and they sat me down and said they couldn't continue.
Whoa.
That manufacturing expense is a lot. And even them at that point weren't making as much gains. So I hear them, I understand them, but my mind is now if you know me, that's how I think. I now begin to ask myself, if they're not making gains, if they have to shut down on this particular part of their production, what happens to people who were reliant on them
Hmm.
because they were pretty affordable, right? What happens to that lady who was dependent on us to get a 3 month
Yes.
supply,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Because when we now decide to buy it on ourselves, not for the sake of this interview, I'm spending millions. And I'm not
Obviously.
saying millions of naira that I'm reaching out to 1 million people. I can't
No.
even do 300 conveniently for 3 months anymore, right?
Hmm.
So it's heavily on our finances, but then you want to understand these people who tell you sincerely that we can't continue
Continue.
because the
Inflation had hit
manufacturing,
them.
it's bad. And that's why I always emphasize that we cannot, if we want to get certain results, especially in this non-profit sector, we can't work alone. The government has to sit on the table with us and have these conversations, because it's if they don't understand the pains of those in the manufacturing industry, Oshodi, we'll just be shouting because it's like a whatever. Do
For
you
how long are we
understand?
going to be shouting?
Do you get it's we're not going to make certain considerable, consistent, sustainable impact. Do you understand? If it's just the non-profit doing it themselves or getting tinkles from certain people, but if we all come together and have this round table, right? We say it as it is. The manufacturing guys say their pains and gains. We say how we're feeling. We're the ones speaking to women and girls in the grassroots. We see, and that's why I had to do what I did where production of the documentary or my book is concerned, that I would not, you can't shut me down. I will keep talking about this topic because it's important. It's imperative that everybody understands that it's giving sanitary pads or having this conversation is not for clouds. These are people's lives you're talking about.
So
These are people's lives.
Bimbo, let me ask you a question. And please hear me out. In the last couple of months, how I know that you give consistently every month pad. So let's assume that you give 1,000 pads. Have you been able to meet up with 1,000 in the last 3 months?
No,
Give me a
I've
number.
not even
Just give me a figure.
saying being here, I will tell you as it is. We've not been able to do what we used to do in the last 1 year.
And so should we now look at when the manufacturer is saying that they can't produce because they might shut or not shut down? What about reusable towels? Is that also
So,
healthy?
so I think I touched on that a bit on my book, right? I
Yes.
love the concept. It's amazing. But I'm working in local communities where these people don't even have access to water. How do they wash it? How do they
Ah,
get it clean?
okay. Okay.
So I'm not sitting here speaking to that young girl who lives on the island. And I'm not saying there are not people that I'm telling you that I'm in communities where their houses are on water, that are dependent on the fish that they catch. That if they don't go to the bush, they will not eat. Those are the communities that I reach out to. So I see things beyond the surface level. I agree. Let's get reusable towels and
Towels.
things like that. How do they wash it? When they go and fetch water from the stream that people bath defecate in, please let's be realistic.
No, 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 no. That's
Do you understand?
hygiene. And this leads us
So
to
we are now bringing more
hygiene.
issues. Do you understand? Because it's like one person is left with normal pads, right? You
Hmm.
take it, you throw away. Now you're telling her to wash and things. Now somebody might say, "Oh, what happens to their underwear?" That is not the same thing because I hear funny arguments. In 2017, we were in a school, I think in Ife, 2016 or 15, we were in a school in Ife. Oshodi,
Yes,
half
sir.
the questions of the girls were on health. These girls had serious health concerns. When I mean serious, like serious smell, serious. concerns, I still have those little write-ups that they send to me. I still have them. So I'm not speaking far-fetched. I'm telling you, girls who wear underwear for 1 week and we're coming to say, oh, sorry, you can't do that. And they're like, okay,
You then
do you
have
know
to
my
give them,
reality?
no, then you then have to give them a strong alternative for them not to
We
have to
started
wear
we started
underwear.
adding pants, underwear into our packs at some point. Like, okay, let's get you a new one if that will surface. But how many are we buying? It's a lot. It's capital intensive. Do you understand? So it's the issues are not,
Let me
they're not,
hug you. Let me hug you. See,
we're not,
because
it's a lot.
so I have a young girl that so most times when I'm buying menstrual towels, see you people's wallet is too much. Sometimes
I get you.
I almost wish I was a guy. Now every month, so I'm like, oh, I'm buying her towels, and she said, "Ma, I have not finished using it." I said, what's going on with you? And then I became worried. And she was like, she's not had a period in 3 to 4 months. And it's not as if she was seeing any, if you know me,
Yeah, I get you.
I'm hawk, right? And then I had to ask my doctor friends, and they're like, oh, she might be having hormonal imbalance. And I'm like,
Imbalance. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I begin to look at her, and for me, one person triples every other person going through that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just I could not just call it a bimbo. Alpha, this load that you're carrying.
It's you're absolutely correct, and that's why when I was talking about the definition as a way of period poverty, I said access, not just to resources. That's the first thing people think about. We're talking access to information. We had counselors, doctors, trained doctors who will come talk to these girls. Do you understand? So it's not resources is one part of the issue where period poverty is concerned. There's education, there's nobody to talk to them. Do you understand? When we were doing stuff in Moremi High School, Ile-Ife, right? And then there's Ibadan, there's Lagos. So I've seen different variety of girls with different issues. As at the last count, I had 100 plus questions from a particular school. What's wrong? What's happening with their
So
teachers? Are they not trained to talk to them?
teachers
But
care.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, period poverty is not a conversation that is priority, not just to the government, but even in schools. Are you getting what I'm saying? So
I am.
access to
I'm with you.
quality education and information is not even there. In my book, I share about I used to have serious cramps, right? During
You
that
read
time of
us
the
to the
month.
book, and it's called "I Bleed Differently." And yes, we all bleed differently because
Yes, we all.
in an environment where some aunties or uncles will say, and I'll say it in Yoruba and translate in English, "Everybody call Unshu nkan osu ni," meaning that are you the only one that is having your sometimes is forbidden? Are you the only
Yeah.
one that is having menstrual issues? And then,
Yeah.
and you know, the painful thing is the period that you have this month is the pain you have this month is different the next month. You see, I'm going to cry this joke. So even for me as an adult, when I get tired, I just tell the period, "Can you please come back next month?" See, anytime I see it, people used to laugh because
True.
of me. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. So if I'm feeling uncomfortable, you are feeling uncomfortable. How much more young girls who
Yeah.
are feeling very uncomfortable? So I like the fact that you wrote "I bleed differently" because we all, oh Lord, just we
We
all,
do actually.
because
We do.
if you're not vomiting, you are eating beans, or you are purging, or your stomach is on fire, and then you
Yeah.
are wondering. So you have the copy
Well,
of the book with you, and we're going to
yeah.
take "The World Must Hear," and you're going to read
Yeah.
from that for me.
I love it. Okay.
So
Okay.
are you going to
Give
read or I
me,
should read? You have
please
to read.
read.
I should
No,
read.
read. Yes, please.
The world must hear. It means that in my quest to increase the awareness on women and girls, period, in our communities, I produced a documentary, "I Bleed Different," highlighting the challenges women and girls in low income communities in some parts of Nigeria face during their time of the month. We produced this video because I wanted the world to hear from the girls and women firsthand. I did not want to recount their stories as I had always done in the past. Their reality needed to be seen, held, heard, and felt. You see, in over 10 years of working with girls in various schools and communities, the questions kept increasing about their health and their environment. The problem is deeper than just access to pads. Menstrual cycle has nuances hardly discussed beyond providing sanitary towels. Access to sanitary pads is a problem because these girls and women cannot afford to buy it as they barely get by with feeding daily. Now, why do we tell these stories? There's a quote I once heard: where you live shouldn't affect how you live. But for girls living in slum areas, life is not that simple. Theirs is a deeply different reality. Now, since 2013, we have provided sanitary pads, supplies, and support to over 15,000 girls. But we soon realized that giving out pads wasn't enough. There were deeper issues, real challenges that needed to be told, and that's what we did with the I Believe Different documentary. My
Yeah,
hope
finish
is
reading
that,
my book.
yes, so no, no, no. So it's quite interesting, right? My hope, and I'm going to wrap up with this. My hope is that every properly informed girl, a family, society, and religious organizations is changed. That every girl knows how her body functions and can get the support where and if necessary. That every girl knows she isn't alone and help is here. And Abimbola is here with her book, I Believe Different. I read it. You asked me, and I said I read it.
Yeah. Wow.
So the world must hear, and now the world is listening and would have to keep listening. What do we what do we do differently? Because it's not only you that can do that. Every other
Yeah.
NGOs who are fighting daily to be able to get. I for one, when I see initiatives, and I'm like, so what part of this is how I think? What part of my money is going into this? Because everybody calls me charity. Because I want us to get to a society. I want a society where by the time you get into any ladies' toilet,
Yeah.
you can see a tiny sanitary towel in that place. That I think that's
Yeah.
a bigger vision
Yeah.
for me, for you, and for every other
Yeah.
person who would, so that when you go, I love it when I see ladies. We meet at the toilet, ladies, and they're like, "Oh, did I stay?" And I say, "You're fine," and because it's hard enough being a woman. I
Yeah.
must. It's hard enough being a woman, and even though that gender used to cause trouble, but it's us,
I get you.
right? But
I think that it's important what you do. And no, this is not me slapping accolades at you. It's the truth. Is that I can have a book, but if there are not platforms like this where I can talk about it, there are limitations where it's concerned. Do you understand? It's it's that girl. I go back to my 13, 14 year old self who a boy told me that I'm having cramps because I've not had sex. And I put that in my book.
that is even annoying.
I I I I I, I start my book thanking some women at the Foursquare Gospel Church,
Mm.
and I say in the book that they loved me dearly. I use fiercely, but my editor felt, so
It's so hard.
I don't know how to put it that I was wrapped in love even when my mom was not around because she was overseas at the time when I started my menstrual period. Do you
Mm.
understand? They wrapped me, and I'm hoping that every time we have our pad for a girl drive, Oshodi, that I can wrap girls like that in love and let them know that they are not alone. And that's why this book is special to me. Yes, it's my first book, but it's that girls get answers. See, when I'll call her out
Yeah.
if she ever hears this.
They
I
would
go
send a
home
link.
that day. I go home that day and I'm worried. So I'm having cramps because I've not had sex, but I'm not supposed to have sex until I
Mm.
marry. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm a PK, so I'm a
You're just
pastor's kid.
scared.
So there is that thing that I already know. And Auntie Buki comes to my house. Auntie Buki is as extroverted as they can be. He is jumpy, but she sees that I'm not in the mood. She's like, Kiloshe. She's like, and then I drag her to the balcony. She's older, and I say, Auntie Buki, someone told me that this. Oshodi, let me tell you what strikes me in her response. It's not the response,
With the
but
body
it's the fact
language.
that she did not look at me like, Abiotin She, you're not using style to ask me question.
I
Is
know
that
that.
she listened. I could see it in her eyes. It's 20 something years after, and I can still tell you how that thing felt. And she looked at me, dropped all the vibes and everything, and she said, she called me by my English name. She said, Esther, you know that there are people that are married and have cramps. It's a
Hmm.
biological thing. It's not that you're having sex. That's it. As simple as that answer was, it made sense. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm married, they have cramps. So is my body turning on its own? That was all I needed. But it came from a place of love. I could feel it. And I'm like, for every girl that I meet, for every girl that opens my book, that looks at the documentary, I want her to feel that way. That if let's assume she's even engaged
Having
in sexual
sex.
activities.
Yeah.
Yes, let's assume that, but that she doesn't feel that,
She
oh,
doesn't
this
feel judged.
biological thing, yeah, wrong with me is no, that she has answers. And to, I did not set out to write a book. I always say I'm not, and that's if you watch the video introduction of this stuff, I'm not a writer. I've failed, but when I put my pen to paper, I felt like God decided to breathe on it because of millions of girls around the world. So that is why this book is important. That's why I wrote the book. That I bleed different, you bleed different. You're bleeding because of 2 years ago, I bled for 10 days and I had to go to the hospital. Right, do this test, do that test. I came out of the hospital, Oshodi, with a pack of drugs and I was in tears. I was supposed to get an Uber home. I didn't know when I walked home because I was talking to myself. Why
Hmm.
will I take this much drugs? I'm still going to do a test next week.
Hmm.
This. So there are girls and women like that. There are some, it's PCOS. It's different thing. We are all bleeding different, but we can all come together and be human because we have something that relates to all of us. And I think that that's for me the essence of the book. Is such a blessing for me.
Okay, a Signals on 91.3, we're discussing period poverty with Abimbola Ajala, who's a social entrepreneur and a recent author on I Bleed Different. Bimbo is somebody that I met at Tejo Show one day when I was trying to get 6 years ago. When I was trying to get, you think I'm joking? Ha! The stuff that you bought for us 6 years after, that was the present we gave to the boy when the boy was 6. So yes,
Oh,
we're attached to one another. So she's she's very much passionate about young girls who are in need. So this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to sort of crowdfund. If you have questions, comments, you can call us 0704 700 8913 or 0704 700 9913, or you can send us a WhatsApp message 0809 234 5913. Now, so this is what I said we're going to do. We're going to have to crowdfund for enough sanitary towels. At least, if you want, please, we are looking for sanitary towels. If you are a girl, are you joking? It's in every month. Do you know how many times if you pass 1 month like this, you are happy. And so, and we're not talking about young girls, women too, who, and very special thanks to Auntie Buki for wrapping you in love, and you have paid it forward and you keep paying it forward, right? Because I know how, I know I was in secondary school, and again, there must be enough advocacy in schools. Proprietresses and proprietors need to, when people come to their schools, it's not a case where they'll say boys should go and stay in one place. Everybody needs to know what's going on in a woman's body. Yes, 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 yes. It's not something to shy away around. Yes, I understand the kind of society that we live in, but it's time. And I think I was having a conversation with somebody. I said it's time that the society is changing. The society is changing and evolving, and not with the generation Z and the Alpha who would ask you questions and do not
yeah,
care. You have to answer them with.
yeah.
If it's not sensible, they will tell you are not making sense, right? So we need to begin to advocate that everybody knows about period. And while it might be expensive, if you have she has an NGO called Lend a Hand Africa. We need plenty sanitary away. That money that you're not using, and even if you cannot, please, for the young girls around you, if it's a gift to them, give it to them, because in itself, I think a week before period you're already cranky. You would think as if your village people is after you, and then
Yeah.
and other times you're fighting it because your body, like you said, is turning on its own. Sometimes you almost you'll be looking for menopause, but then menopause has its own issues. Let's not even talk about that. Let's even
Yeah,
start
true.
with the girls who have so there's something again that I read in the book about when young girls have period, it affects their self-esteem. Why?
So, especially, I'm going to speak from the standpoint of where and how I work,
Yeah.
right? So, when you are not sure that what you're using owes you, you're
Hmm.
conscious. You're very self-conscious. You're using a torn wrapper from your grandma's clothes.
Hmm.
When you're walking, you're like, will it fall? Did I put it properly? Am I stained? And then you are in a school that doesn't have wash facilities. Right. I served in a particular school. I will not call the name of the school.
Right.
and
The schools
then
will upgrade.
and then the girls will go to the bush to do their change.
Yes.
And they will have their friends cover them.
Hmm.
There's that sense of I don't belong. Why is this
Hmm.
happening to me? So they're very self-conscious. It begins to affect their self-esteem, especially when we have ignorant classmates as boys
And
and they are
ignorant classmates are
laughing.
girls too, because we also have
Yes,
ignorant classmates as
yes.
girls.
And they are laughing. We've had an event in a school where girls were with their boyfriends and their boyfriends were saying, Shofel Ogba Pampas ni, and because of that, they didn't come. I was looking at them like this.
I'm
The
sure
girls,
you'll have given them the word of the
I,
Mojeri.
I, I'm like, Holy Spirit, take control because I'm looking at them. And in fact, one, I'm looking at her like, are you serious?
Hmm.
Because I know her. I've had to give her mine. So I'm like, are
Hmm.
you joking? You won't come here because of a boy. And they were calling it Pampas. But boy, ain't Pampas. And the stigma was a lot. Those are the things that cause self-esteem issues. Do you understand? You begin to ask yourself, why are the boys not um having this? Why am I the only one? Do you understand? So it's those nuances around it is what makes a girl that is not properly informed, right, have self-esteem issues, right? Now I'm older. Now I know what to do with my body. But as a young girl, 13, 12, I'm like, who even said this body safe?
Seven,
And
seven,
yes, I hear a
because
lot of people are
seven,
starting
seven,
really early now.
8. They're starting early, and
Yeah.
I'm like, ha.
So can even their parent figures, and I say this also because of the work that I do. Some kids don't live with their parents, right?
Yes.
They live with uncles, aunties, grandmas, grandpas. Can their parent figures give them the adequate information that they need?
Bimbo. How
Sometimes
many
I put that in my book.
Bimbo? How many parents are
I
properly
said
informed?
the lady, the family member said, "Ah, mo nkan tó máa ń ṣe Bimbo, gbogbo ìgbà and she said it. She was talking to a GS3 student. She was talking to, I was 13 or so, or 12. I was looking at her like, you think I want this? You think I want to be down with a cramp? Are you joking? Because maybe your kids handle it better. You think I should. Yes, I'm a big baby when I'm sick. Deal with it.
And it's okay to be a big baby when you're
It's
sick.
okay
Everybody's body
because
is
my body,
different.
I don't, it's, I told you I bled for 10 days, right?
Ha!
At the ninth day, Oshodi, I was exhausted.
How now? When you're not the woman with the issue of blood.
My sister,
And even and it's so it's so funny that some people will also bleed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they're
yes.
watching.
I think I saw an interview with J Bombs and she said she was bleeding
Yes,
for
I saw
100 and
that
something
too.
days. I'm like, I thought 10 days was bad. This is almost a whole year, right? So
Yeah.
it's it's very I don't know, like you have to get to the point where
It's
people
mental exhaustion. It's mental exhaustion.
mentally, psychologically, you're asking. I said, I know I opened the Uber app and I walked home. I know it was open, but I couldn't. I was just like, Taluma lo gbogbo ogun like kilo de.
Okay. Somebody has a question for you. It says, how early should menstrual hygiene be taught to girls?
As far as we begin to teach them certain basic things
Okay.
before they see their first period. Oh, way
Mm,
before they see their first period. We don't go to we don't go to war, right? When
mm,
everything we're seeing battle. We don't
mm.
prepare for war at that time. So way before, as you can tell them, oh, this is your body, this is your hand, this is your breast. At that point, you begin to tell them, very soon, this will happen. Because we're in the age of computers and internet now, they will see different things. People are pouring um red stuff on clothes on TikTok. Nonsense, right? So they will see that and they will begin to feel a certain way. So they need to see when you as a mom you have a sanitary pad, don't use code names. Don't say
The way it
a
is.
sanitary pad
And
for women.
say it
Say
when
it.
go to the pharmacy and stop using double nylon. Ah,
Eh?
God, stigma is bad.
Do you understand? I'm there and I'm doing like this for the pharmacist. What's that? Do you understand? Because I want to buy pad. Do you understand? I'm not buying contraband. This is something that I need. So it's funny. As when they can understand and assimilate these different things way before their first period, please talk to girls about it. And talk to boys too. Talk to their brothers about it.
So somebody has a question for you. It says that I listened to your radio program titled Pure Poverty and all the salient points raised and discussed, ranging from high cost of sanitary pads, lack of adequate needs of the girl child from puberty and other needs. May 28th is World Menstruation Hygiene Day, and your topic of discussion is timely. According to some research findings, 10 million girls in Nigeria cannot afford sanitary pad. According to the Guardian newspaper, now a foundation, so I can imagine the girls in internally displaced camps, right? So sad. Kudos to you for your advocacy, and then happy
Thank you.
weekend. Now, if 10 million girls in Nigeria cannot afford sanitary towel, income
Oshodi, we're saying they can't afford sanitary towels because they can't afford basics like food.
ha.
So a woman hasn't eaten. She has 8 children. Her husband is dead. I'm telling you true life story, right? This is true life story. She has 2 of her kids are on our scholarship scheme, so there is no lie there. She has 8 kids. They hardly eat. Today is our reading club, right? And we give monthly food supplies, so they are there. She's thinking of how to feed them. You are now coming with 3,500 sanitary pads. That's a joke.
Extreme dope.
That's a joke because she will use what she has, and that's what she's going to pass to her kids. So we're in and that's why I started with the fact that we're in a country that doesn't prioritize certain things. It's from the government, right? It's the public sector, it's the corporate bodies. You are an organization, you want to do CSR, sit down and have a conversation. This is not clout. What are the things that matter that we can plunge our money into? These are conversations that big organizations need to have. You can't have a CSR body and what you are doing is prosperity. Uh, it's 2025. It's 2025, guys. We need to focus on things that matter and the people that it affects the most.
Now, how are government agencies? Do you think the government agencies are contributing to lessen period poverty?
Let me say something
Yes, please.
unapologetically.
Go ahead.
When there was COVID, we localized stuff because we feared that there was imminent danger. But this one doesn't hurt anybody, somebody will say. There were conversations in Igbo, in Hausa, on radio. It trickled down. And for
Every
one, what
your
everybody
high.
heard, the grandma somewhere in one local community heard. Everybody, whether they wear it well or not, they had a mask. Do you understand me?
I
So we are
get
all culpable in this. Do you understand? If you think this is a priority, you will get down to the heart of the matter. Right. When you want to contest for elections, you go to those slum communities sometimes now.
yes,
You
yeah.
wear boots. When you get there, what are their concerns there? Don't in this community, we had somebody that wanted to make borehole for them. And I've learned my lesson. So I do my research. I go to this community and I have conversation. They tell me that it's a waste of time, that their land is bad, that will plunge millions to do that first. That wells here and there will help, right? With that. But something happened with the donor and we couldn't get the person's hand. So everybody resorts to the river for certain things, or they go and buy water. 5 naira, 10 naira that year. Do you
Not
know how
now.
much it is to buy water now?
A truck is 2,000 naira. A truck of water is
So
2,000 naira.
now I when I'm on my period, I'm extremely conscious. I'm taking my bath like a fish. I'm doing this. Is it the water you went to buy that you'll be using to bath like that?
Side eye.
Do you get me? So
Yes.
these are the government has to. It's not a political or nice discussion. It's you
But if
have to be involved.
Bimbo, if
What
we're
is the
saying
local
the
government
government,
chairman doing?
I was about to ask you that. Before we get to
Who's
the
local? I'm not
executive,
even talking to the president here. I'm talking.
the
What's your
local
local
government.
government chairman doing? What are your councillors doing? Don't they think that these are issues
No.
that they are public toilet?
They want
See,
to collect money.
when we get pads, I personally put pads in churches that I go to. That time, God sees me. I'll just go and I'll just put it there. I'm not saying this church is a big church. No, there's a young girl who comes to this church that is big but might not be able to afford it. She knows that every Sunday, if I come here, one auntie
They
will
will
put pads here.
yeah.
If we don't start thinking like that, you can't be in a place and then you are just thinking, and that's what happens when a local government chairman doesn't stay in his community and
They will
comes to
like,
visit as if it's open day. But it's true. Let's say it as it is. When a local government chairman doesn't stay in, he's staying somewhere on the island. He doesn't understand what's happening. So he comes open day, and when he comes, oh, we're fantastic in doing that. We patch things up and everybody is fine. And he throws money around. And then we forget these issues and these people that really matter. These people that sat in the sun and rain to vote for you, but then can't afford a sanitary pad.
so finally, why is this advocacy very important to you?
It's important to me
Because
because first, I'm an human being.
see, before you even say you're a human being, well, see, you live and breathe. See, this thing is calling you every time, and so you have dragged me to inside.
So first, I'm an human being, but becoming a mom changes your perspective about life. And I say in the book that I'm hoping that I can leave the world a better place for my kids and their friends. That when I'm saying these issues to my kids some years later, it's not strange because they don't understand it. It's strange because we have worked to make the ground level, right? And that's why it's important to me. And because I have worked in these shoes, there's a part of my book where I said, we did not have so much. Oh, we didn't. Right. But I grew up to be content to share. I grew up in love. So I understand that even if we didn't have access, I can create a bridge for other people to have access.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So Abimbola Ajala is the executive director of Lend a Hand Africa. You can find her on Instagram. Please, we're looking for sanitary towel at least to cover 3 months. If I give you blue
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
cover 3 months, yes, now because
Yes.
you and I know how many children that you're paying their school fees.
Let's not
Yeah,
go there.
let's go there. So we're looking for if we're able to crowdsource, we're looking for sanitary towels, uncles, auntie, mom, daddy, and even while amongst your area, if you have somebody, if you can give somebody, pay somebody to buy sanitary towels. To do period is not funny. It's hard. It's hard work. So every time I wish I was a guy. You already know I'm a tomboy. So now imagine.
I get you. I
Thank you
get
so
you.
much. Lend a hand
Thank
Africa.
you for having
Abimbola
me. Thank
Ajala
you.
on Instagram. Find her. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. And you know, there's something that I see for every business, for every job that we do, there's a spirit behind it. So
Yeah.
it will be easy for you. You will get donuts on time. Children
Amen.
that you're attached to, we
Yeah.
get all their sanitary towels on time. And then it will
Yeah.
be easy for
Yeah.
them to, because God, I have women who share their PCOS stories, who share their
Yeah.
endometriosis, and
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
I am loving them, and we hope that with these few points of us, we've been able to create an advocacy for, please, uncle, aunties, brothers, sisters, for every child, for every young girl who's going through a period at a time. Love them, wrap them, pay it forward, because they will also pay it forward. So
Yeah.
to the new author, I bleed differently. Okay, have a wonderful week.
You too. Thank you
And
for
God
having
bless.
me.
To everyone
Bye.
who's listened in, it's Signals on 91.3. We discussed I Bleed Differently with Pure Poverty with Abimbola Ajala. So, yes, look for her. Have a wonderful week. Signals will be back next week.